All right, so something I forgot to mention was that I got the Wind Waker before I started the first dungeon, and then I actually found the first song to redirect the winds while, like, right before I did that all. So I'm going backwards for forward. Sorry, I just want to get right to Dragon Rose Cavern. I was very excited to talk about it. I jump around a little bit, but now we're back to present day where I redirect the winds and I go towards the Forest Haven. So you end up getting there and you end up finding the Deku tree, and he's got acne, but it's choo-choos. But after you defeat all of them, him and his forest friends come out. And then they say, hey, here's a leaf that's also going to give you magic powers, right? Of all the things, a leaf gives you magic powers in the Wind Waker. Usually it's like a spinning attack or something like that you would think would require some sort of magical boost. But no, here's a leap that you use to float in the air, and it takes up magic to fly with a giant leaf. But I'm gonna be real, as soon as I got to the place to find this dude Makar, I have to say this is probably one of the most boring dungeons I've ever seen. It's really just a whole lot of gust blowing until you actually get the boomerang, but to get the boomerang, I'm gonna be real, you actually do have a pretty cool mini boss. You know how I was talking about like all these different phobias I had, like the King of Red Lions and the giant fire centipede? Moths don't scare me too much. So to see this dude right here was actually really cool. Like, this was a really nice mini boss. I don't know, it just was aesthetically pleasing. But I get the boomerang, and then I find Makar, but he is guarded by a giant killer flower that I have to destroy the head of. Now, I for some reason, I just couldn't. I couldn't avoid being sucked into the giant flower and spit out. In fact, this whole, that was the thing, is this is one of the most boring dungeons, but the traps were so annoying that it really drained a lot of my hearts. And at this early stage in the game, I don't have hearts to drain. But I beat the boss, and then I took Makar back. And then they have a heartfelt reunion with the Great Deku Tree. And, I talked about bittersweet moments in the game before. Seeing their little fiddle performance where they take to the music and start laying down some tracks, and then you see the harvest, and it looks like Link is just enjoying what he's seeing. I think this part of the game really stood out to me just because, Link's in dire straits right now, but he's happy. He's really for once he's actually finding enjoyment out of the growth that he's going under. But that leaves one more pearl to go towards. But you guys end up sailing towards the third island where the Spirit Juba Juba is supposed to be. But you would think that there was a third temple here, but the game actually takes an interesting twist. You have to go on a side quest, go back to the Windfall Island, and then you have to go back to your home island. So first you go to Windfall and you meet the pirates. And that one dude that was selling the overpriced bombs? For once, these pirates are really cool. I'm going to be honest, because this guy was robbing people with these prices, and they justified that to take his bombs. But you take them from the pirates, and then, Tetra actually is back, and she's looking out for you. So I guess she's pretty chill. But you go back to your home island and find your grandmother, revive her, and then she realizes she's being the weak link in the family, and she gives you some soup. And this is probably one of the most based items in the game. Forget healing potions, it's grandma's soup that will replenish you. But after you're all nice and strong and everything's resolved, you go to the back, and then that's when you face down Juba Juba's whirlpool, the protection, and then you meet him. And he's like, you know what? You found me. Here's the pearl. And you know what? By the time you know it, you've got 3 balls. So you end up placing the pearls into the designated spots. And what do you know? It makes the Triforce, and you summon a Tower of the Gods. And you know what? This is actually where I got off. And, I actually am looking forward to playing this, dungeon, because this is probably one of my favorites. This is when the game really starts picking up momentum, because the first 2 dungeons are kind of mid in my opinion. But I'm definitely going to be leaving off right here because this is the perfect spot to start the next episode. But yeah, I love Tower of the Gods.